so I'm here to finally film a review for Restore Me by Tahira Mafe. I'm so excited that I'm finally filming this because I read this book last month and it's literally been so hard trying to find a time to actually film this review because I had all these thoughts and feelings straight after I read this, and because I knew I wasn't going to film this for a while, I didn't write it down. So the thoughts that I've written down later aren't exactly how I felt at the start, and I feel like I've already forgotten like so many things that happened in this book, but I am excited to do this review. It will have spoilers in it because I do want to talk about this book, and I'll be doing reviews for the next two as well because I did my reaction review for the first three, and then I will do like solid book reviews for the last three, but I am just excited to get into this video. Oh my god though, it took me way too long to finally get back to this series though, because the reread was really daunting to me for some reason, because Restore Me came out last March. It's been like more than a year and a half since that book first came out, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll get my reread done, this will happen, and then just month after month after month kept passing, and then I finally started doing my rereads in May, so I was reading one book every single month. So this is the 4th month, even though I do need to read Defy Me this month, but I don't know if that's gonna happen because the novella collection's kind of expensive, and Sasha like hasn't read Ignite Me and Restore Me yet, so I don't think she will be done this month either. So I'm hoping that I will maybe just read it when I get back from my trip, because I've got a few other things that I need to try and read this month, and like I was reading and now I'm kind of slowing down a little bit, so like I don't know what I'm doing. But reading Restore Me really was exciting though, because it's all new information and new shenanigans are happening and more inside jokes and more relationship drama. Like it was all happening, and I honestly feel we didn't need this edition because it was just all strange and weird, and there was relationship drama that I wasn't here for. I feel I could have been happy with having no more books because it was over, then they started more, and I did say when I finished reading Ignite Me like all those years ago that I was like, I want more, but I'm not really liking what I've gotten, and I'm kind of worried because I still gave this 4 stars because it's all the individual moments between characters that I really loved, but the bigger stuff, I'm like, I don't really like it. Just saying though, having a book where you get to see what happens after the final battle was actually really interesting though, because you always win the war, but what happens afterwards? How do you like rebuild and pay for things and figure everything out? With Juliet, she's become like the Supreme Commander of America, and she has so much to do with. There are like over 500 different sectors, and she's only been in the one sector her whole life to then have to deal with all these other ones, and she gets like a report from every single sector, and then there's reports of other multiple things, so she just has to constantly be reading through reports every single second of the day. Like there's not much time for her to do anything else except read reports, and she questions herself all the time because she doesn't think she's smart enough and knows what's happening, and she really is oblivious to so many things that happen in the world because she's been locked up for so many years. She just doesn't know, and it was crazy to see that development with her. And we like find out that there's 7 Supreme Commanders around the whole world, and they're all kind of on their own continent. It's only been one generation since the re-establishment actually took over, and like even though the takeover was very quickly, the lead up to it did take quite a while, and like they've got full control now and everything's regulated, and it's basically like kind of communism, it feels like, because no one can really do anything without being told what to do. And the fact that you can just go outside of the sectors, and there's so many houses around the world that are just abandoned because the people that lived there aren't alive anymore, and like you can see all the possessions in the houses, but there's like there's shops and cars and everything just abandoned everywhere. It almost feels like a war zone sometimes, because like yeah, they think they've done a good job by taking over, but they don't like to have any religion or music or drama or fun or books. Like everything has to be made to be just like this one basic type of like material for people to consume, and it's just a very controlling nation, and it's obviously not going to work eventually because you just don't take over. That doesn't work. And I honestly feel like Juliet is never going to stop growing and developing as a character, because from where she was at the start to now is so different to like how she was in Ignite Me. Like she is always changing, and I love that about her because there's always new information that she can learn, and especially with all the children of the 7 commanders come in to kind of suss her out and see what she's doing, because no one's taking her seriously. They just think she's a child trying to take over. Like they don't feel that she's a threat at all, but when she starts having conversations with them and they start to really see her as a really strong person, because she is strong and she makes good connections with people and she's got a lot of relationships that are very strong to her, and she does make mistakes sometimes, but she learns from them and she tries to be better, which I think is a good quality in a leader. I gotta say, Warner actually disappointed me in this book because the dude's gotta open up. He has so many secrets in this brain of his that cause so much shit in this book, and literally like since he's he's known Juliet, there are so many things that he knows that he could have just mentioned, but he's so secretive that he doesn't even let Juliet know like what his favorite color is, you know? Like, you need to open up to your girlfriend, dude. You love her and she doesn't even know anything about you, and he just keeps everything so closed up. He always just seems so on edge all the time. Like, he needs to loosen up. Like, so many things could have been easier in this book if he just would tell people things, and I honestly don't even know what the point of Warner was in this book, because as I said, all he did was keep secrets and be annoying. And the ultimate thing I want to talk about in this book is the breakup. So you know what we found out in this book that I'm really annoyed about because it's so dumb? Is Juliet isn't actually Juliet. She is a girl named Ella and she has a sister named Emmeline. So they were brought into the reestablishment like 12 years ago because of their powers. Emmeline was showing signs of her powers and Juliet wasn't, but they took both girls because they were sisters and more likely to both share a power. But Ella never ended up showing any signs of powers, so she was sent to live with a new family that adopted her, and her memory was wiped and Juliet was born. And then Castle comes into the situation, right, because he was the leader of Omega Point and he's been the leader for like ever, and he did a lot of research and digging into all the members of the reestablishment, so he knew this about her. And then he tells Warner, and then he's got this whole idea that this news needs to come from Warner because he's the one that she trusts, and Warner knew that Juliet was adopted and he knew a few other details, and Warner doesn't want to do that because he doesn't share secrets, you know. So Warner tells her about this and Juliet just starts screaming and yelling and she runs away and breaks up with him. Then Warner just starts having a panic attack in the bedroom and Kenji walks in like, what is going on, mate? And it was honestly the funniest scene because Warner's just like, can you leave me alone, as he's like dying on the floor, and Kenji wouldn't stop bugging him, and he's just like, hey, what did you do to Juliet? And like, I love the whole relationship between these guys because they hate each other, and the fact that Juliet was trying to get them to be like friendly and Warner's like, I hate people, this ain't gonna work, and the minute that she's like, fine, stop, you don't have to try and be friends anymore, I don't care anymore, and then they became friends, basically. It was great. And also my favorite thing is if we find out that Warner had a girlfriend before Juliet and he did have sexual relations with her, and it's funny because that went for 2 years, and Kenji's just like, oh, so Juliet knows, right? And Warner's like, no, she never asked, so why would I tell her? And it's just like, dude, you don't know the code, because girls get funny about that. I don't know if I expected Warner to be a virgin before he met Juliet because he seemed to be obsessed with her, but he's had a relationship, that's fine. Lena was like, alright. And it was kind of like one of those relationships where that was kind of expected to happen, and like they sort of did it, and Warner was like, oh, I don't really care about you, can you leave? And she's all sad about it, but still, it's just funny that Kenji's just like, how did you not tell her that? And Warner's just like, I don't know. And oh my god, we get to Juliet and she's still panicking, and then she decides to move into the Supreme Commander like residence, and she gets in there and all of Warner's father's stuff is still in there. So she gets a bottle of scotch and she drinks like a whole glass of it, and then she gets drunk. And then she shaves all her hair off. This is like my bookish pet peeve. I shouldn't be so vain. I just get so cringy and sad when book characters lose their hair. And you know what makes this worse? Is at the start of the book, Warner had to shave his head too. So they both got no hair. And I'm just like, I can't see you as like an attractive power couple anymore because you got no hair. And it really shouldn't matter, but I always just get so upset and I can't picture it because I still see them with hair. So I'll read the book and I'm like, even though I know you don't have hair, I can't picture it. And honestly, for the fact that it was both of them, I feel like this was just like a personal attack against me for not liking this, and that just makes me very sad. Just saying, Juliet and Warner are both in the wrong here though in this breakup because they both didn't handle it correctly. And honestly, it's only been 3 weeks since the end of Ignite Me, so they've only been dating for like a month and they're already at that level of like, oh my god, I would die for you and I love you so much. Like, they never had the build up of a normal relationship where you meet and then you have a chance to fall in love and then everything slowly builds and it's all happy and you go on dates and you learn about each other. They just went from we met to we're in love. Like, they didn't have any of that connection there where Warner needs to start letting people in and talking to them, and Juliet needs to stop crying about everything. So like, they are a good couple, but they're just not meshing right now for me. And I am honestly not shocked that it crashed and burned. So a character I want to talk about is Nazira, and I think that's how you say her name. I'm not too sure. but I will call her Nazira because it seems like the easiest thing to say. She is one of the children of the Supreme Leaders, and it's funny because Kenji sees her and then he instantly falls in love with her. Like, I love Kenji, but he can be too much sometimes, and his advances towards her and how he acted were sometimes a bit, oh, that's a bit cringy. Like, I'm feeling the secondhand embarrassment for you. But anytime they talked, you just fell more in love with her, and I honestly feel she's gonna end up returning his feelings because it's just funny because Kenji's never been in love before. Like, he always joked around Juliet about it, but I can see this relationship happening, and it's exciting because we find that Nezura actually has powers. Like, what? She can fly, and she has the ability to go invisible, which is Kenji's power. So I think they'll be like a cool power couple because they got the same powers. I definitely feel that she's going to be a key power player later though, because she seems to know a lot about Juliet, and I'm assuming that she knows Juliet when she was Ella. So there's going to be information happening there. Like, we need to learn more about what the heck is going on with this Ella thing. But anyway, we get to the end of the book and there's this big meeting that Juliet needs to run where each commander from all the 500 sectors come in and they have a meeting to talk about what they should do next and their plans, and she starts saying all these things that no one agrees with. She wants to help the poor people, she wants to move them out of their shitty living, she wants to make sure people can roam, she wants to just make the earth like it should be, and everyone gets really angry about it. And Julia just kind of snaps because she's discovered that with her abilities, if she screams, it makes them work better. So she ends up screaming and killing every single person at the meeting, and I mean everyone. Genji dies, Ian dies, Lily dies, Castle dies, Winston dies, every single person just died, and we just all saw them basically explode. And I feel like I'm not sounding as sincere right now, but I feel like I've gone into shock because I haven't read book 5. I haven't read Defy Me yet. I need to know, like, do they all die? Like, is this just like a dream or some bullshit? Because then Julie gets taken by these people who are the supreme leaders of Oceanic, and they were like, oh hey, we're actually your parents. So of course she's the child of one of the leaders that started the re-establishment. So what's happening? Because now she's like in a childhood home and they're starting to call her Ella and she's stuck there, and I'm sitting here like, what's going on? And I don't know what happened to Warner because I think he just disappeared. He was there and then he wasn't there. So I need Kenji's novella to hopefully maybe get some, see what, we have a novella for Kenji. So how does Kenji die? I actually don't think Kenji exploded. I think he got like hurt by something, but he was still breathing. So we do have a novella, because that's why I want the novella, because I want this information to know what the hell is going on. There's much confusion happening to me right now. Like, I feel like they can't just kill everyone. Like, it can't be a dream because it happened and then she was on the floor like crying, and then like suddenly, yeah, she's somewhere else. I need to read the next book to know what is going on. Now, a part of me is still really excited that we did get this book, and I was happy to see it continued on and like to have more fun with all these characters. And I do love the romance between Warner and Juliet, even though it got really weird in this book. But there's also another part of me that kind of wishes that we never had a continuation, because we would have been fine. Like, yes, I was sad about it being open-ended, but I would have been fine. So, oh, it's just... I don't know how to feel sometimes with this, but like, I'm happy and I'm also not. That's why I got 4 stars, because really most of what happened I really enjoyed, but then a lot of it I was like, I don't know how to feel. But anyway guys, thanks for watching this review. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!